Hey there, welcome back. We're going to dive right in. I did do some more research. I haven't done that in a while. I haven't actually gone into, online forums, etc. to figure out stuff about the game in some time. Oh, hey. Do we have anything we can drop? We really don't. Alright, let's try and remember to come back and grab this right before we leave the level. Where are we on the map? So you don't need it right now. Dead south. Yeah, as we approach, in general, the end game, I'm taking the time to at least check out things and make sure I know what's going on in the game, because as I've mentioned more than once, the manual themselves are very, very sketchy. I learned a ton of stuff, but I forget the bulk of it, because that's just how I do. But one thing, I'll tell you a few minor things I learned, and then one important thing. Minor things, first of all, is another confirmation that we were right about the fact that definitely different foods have different periods of time that they make you full for. And just as a bit of hard data, as an example, right off the bat in our first episode, we noticed like a hard biscuit was for sale. I think fine wine is one of the things that's for sale. Ration is for sale in the general store. They're all cheap, so we ended up buying rations, of course. But the discrepancy in the time periods that they last for is so vast. I can't. Again, it just makes me question the design of the game in some way. A hard biscuit gives you 500 turns of hunger abatement, whereas a ration of food gives you 5,000. It's literally 10 times as long, and yet the cost is like the difference between 1 gold piece or 3 gold pieces. I mean, it's like, who the hell's buying that hard biscuit? Maybe you would once. Maybe you would once right before you went in the dungeon the first time. Probably not. But maybe. Again, speaking of weird design decisions, that pit, I just fell in it like 2 or 3 times. And it did so little damage, it's ridiculous. Why would you ever wear a ring of feather falling? Anyways, getting back on track. So that's one thing. Oh, here's something else I learned. Before I even look at my pack, let's go to see perception, which is very bad for me. That is also what governs when you figure out what's magical in your pack. So my perception is terrible, but were it a lot higher, I would realize things are magic in my pack much sooner. So that's pretty neat to know that that's part of what that governs. Specifically, the Iron Helm is magic. I might as well hold on to it. I was going to anyway. We don't know how it's magic or if it matters, but it is magic. So perception is what governs that. I learned that. That's kind of cool. What else did I learn? I should be casting damn spells, and I'm not, and I'm going to suffer for it. PCE. I'll tell you in a second. Let me kill this ghost first. And or bat, and or whatever else is out here. Where'd that guy go? There he is. Oh, I'm not using the right weapon. Maybe I did that to pull out rubble out of the way a second ago. I don't know. Alright, well, there's dead. Anyways. That was one thing I learned, the perception thing. I learned about the food thing. God damn it, there was something else I was going to tell you that I've forgotten. That was minor, but, worth mentioning. Oh well. The major one I learned was about the enchantment on weapons and, casting enchant weapon or enchant armor, or enchant weapon in particular, I guess. I had surmised a long time ago that the higher your enchantment level on a weapon was, the less likely the enchantment was to work, and that proved true. It actually is it gets dramatically less likely to succeed the higher the enchantment currently on your weapon is. So cool that we intuited that based on the evidence at hand. Specifically though, let's look at our equipment. Well, I guess we can't tell. Yeah, we can. The Bastard Sword, we're at plus 10, plus 11. The maximum damage you can ever enchant a weapon to is the amount of base damage it can do. So plus 12 is the highest we'll ever be able to get this Bastard Sword. Once it's there, casting enchant weapon to dam on this would be a complete waste. As it is, I don't know that this is true, but I think I have roughly a 1 in 12 chance each time I cast it of successfully getting it to plus 12. I think it rolls dice and tries to, out of how much you can enchant it, and it tries to get over what the current enchantment is, I think. I could be totally wrong. Definitely it's very hard to enchant it further. But I'm pretty 99% sure I understood correctly that 12 is the highest we could possibly get that weapon to. What's more upsetting, because that, we tried to get it higher a lot, and apparently we could have succeeded, so fine. Plus 10 to hit is the maximum you can get any weapon. You can't get above plus 10. So we've wasted fucking countless enchant weapon to hits on this sword, and there was literally no chance of succeeding every time. We were just throwing them out the window. So again, it comes down to me to... Yeah, that's the information the player has to have. It's not fair to your player to deny them that information and expect them to ever figure it out. You would never figure it out. You would just assume it's really hard. Why would you assume there's a maximum limit of 10? And it's not in the rulebook as far as I can tell. If it is, I apologize, but it's not in the rulebook anywhere I've seen. So we were talking a few episodes ago about spoilers and the requisite nature of them in some games. And again, I would not say it's requisite to have spoilers in Moria. I think you could win without researching anything. You could just play really cautiously and get very lucky and hang out and intuit a lot of shit. But you'd have to intuit a lot more than you should have to. Somebody should make a project of just writing a new, and I say somebody, and I guess I could do it, and I'm not going to because I already have enough on my plate with caverns in terms of roguelikes, but nonetheless, some awesome person who is more awesome than I am, I think, should make a project of just, these guys can drain your strength. Let's stay away from them. Is that, I can't tell what the hell's a diagonal. Here we go. I think I actually failed in that spell and then just stepped on it, just attacked it. Alright, it doesn't matter, it worked out either way. Somebody to make a point of rewriting the manuals from Moria and making them completely comprehensive. I am not a fan of manuals that do not expressly, every single rule that is in the game should be written out. I was watching another completely unrelated YouTube video the other day, just because it popped up in my feed. And I was like, this is curious. And it was about solo RPGs. I looked... let's go down... we need to explore this area a bit, and then we'll go grab that food again and get the hell out of here. At some point or another, in the past several weeks, God, if I had an identify scroll, man. If I did. I don't, do I? Oops. I do not. And I'm not willing to drop anything I have for that. We're going to get back to town soon. We're still going to go to 1250 and explore it, and then we'll go back to town. That's the plan anyway. At some point I got curious about a name I kept seeing pop up, and it was 4 Against Darkness. 4 Against Darkness is a solo RPG. I mean, essentially a board game. But it's a... Oh, look at that. I was not expecting to find anything on these levels. Oh, I can't... now I have to drop something. And I have to drop permanently because I can't take this because our dexterity is down. Fuck me. Alright, what are we going to drop? I think we already have a potion of strength in the backup too, don't we? Yep. I mean, sadly, I could drop the Iron Helm. We'll never know what it does if I do. But I could. I could drop one of my many stabs of teleportation. Maybe I will. I keep finding them anyway. Let's drop the first one in the list, because that's probably the one we've been using. Come on, you know what I meant. Oh, for God's sakes, I can't see my fucking keys. Oh my God. Turning a light on. Alright. There's the button I want. What the hell? Maybe a caps lock is on. What the hell's going on? Drop. Oh my God, drop. No, caps lock is on now. Got it. Drop. There's no room to drop anything here. You suck. Jesus. 9:30. Okay, we're gonna drop R. No, P. What is going on? Why can't I drop? Did I successfully drop it? No. Drop. P. Alright, it's dropped. Sorry about that. And we had to carry that. Okay, what was I saying? I forget what I was saying. Oh, I shouldn't have turned that off either. Sorry guys, I'm messing up everything in my life simultaneously. Yeah, I was looking up a video on 4 Against Darkness. It's a solo RPG. And what that means is it's pen and paper. You create a party of characters, and then you have like a little essential quest where you're trying to kill a big bad boss or something. And then you roll dice and consult charts to draw your dungeon map, and then you roll dice to see the monsters you meet, and you roll dice to fight them, and all this kind of stuff. And it looks essentially fun. Essentially, though, it occurred to me it is a roguelike. There's no getting around that. That's a roguelike without a computer, which is fine and fun. I personally, I think I prefer to use computers because it'll handle all the paperwork for me. But it's it's cool. But in this particular, because I looked up that video, I got another video about solo RPGs. And it was this guy commenting on the fact that essentially a solo RPG, when you get down to it, because a pen and paper RPG gives you infinite choices as to what to do for your character. You can choose to do whatever you want because you have a game master mitigating those actions and judging those actions. He can come up with impromptu rules on the fly that can be somewhat fair. And because you have that option going for you, let's go get that food. As a player, you can literally choose any action. There's no limitation on what you can do because there's a human agent there to make impromptu decisions that otherwise could not be made. But as soon as you take that away and you get into solo RPG, which again is a roguelike, the same thing, what you're really talking about is a board game. That is definitively a board game because there are limited options. Here's exactly what you can do. The fact that it doesn't have a board per se, but uses graph paper, say, to PCE, to note everything down, doesn't change the fact that it's a board game. And the reason I'm harping on this is because if a solo RPG is a roguelike, and a solo RPG is a board game, then a roguelike is a board game. And I think that's actually very accurate. This is no more than a standard board game, except for the fact that I don't have to roll the dice. The computer handles it all for me, which I love. I love board games. I collect them. I have like 186 of them, and it's not an exaggeration. I literally have about 186 in my closet, many of which I've never played. I don't get a chance to play them very often at all. I used to play a few a year, and now I play a few every few years. But Moria is essentially a board game with dice rolls going on behind the scenes, and the board is the map, and I don't have to roll to see what the next tunnel is. The game does that for me. But board games are only possible, again, if, unlike an RPG where you have a game master, if every single rule is spelled out in graphic detail. It has to be. Every single option has to be explained in perfect detail. Now, admittedly, because I don't have to roll the dice, because I don't have to consult the charts, etc., that's why a computer game of this nature gets away with, and I do say gets away with, it feels like a bit of a criminal enterprise, but gets away with not explaining all rules to the player, because they assume, well, the computer will solve it for you anyway, so you don't need to know this. But all this by way of saying I wholeheartedly disagree. If you are making a roguelike, it is a board game that you are making. You're just making a computerized board game, and the player needs to know 100% of every single rule in the game. Those can be unveiled in the game. I don't mind if you want to have a help menu, or if you want to do like Caverns does, like if you find an item and you point your cursor at it, it spells out everything to do with that item. I don't put all of that in the rule book, because if you don't find the item, it doesn't matter. But as soon as you find the item, if you point your cursor at it, it will tell you exactly 100% of everything that you need to know about that item. Everything that can be known about it. And bottom line, to be perfectly honest, if I'm making an item in the game, and the rules explaining how it functions cannot fit completely in the one text box provided, and it is limited screen real estate, you can't scroll that particular screen, because if you pull your cursor off the item in question, the information disappears, so there's no way to scroll that information. if 100% of that information can't appear in that box, then the item gets changed. The item gets simplified until 100% of the information can appear in there. So I make design decisions based on the fact of, can I convey this rule cleanly to my players, and if not, then I am not implementing the item or monster or event or whatever it is in question the way I had planned to. And I still stand by that as a design decision. You gotta... Everything needs to be understandable and understood. If a player chooses not to read the manual, that's their own fucking problem. Screw them. But if you've provided the information, you've done your job. And they have not done their job here. Great game. Great, great, great game. Moria is an awesome game. But they have not done their job in providing their information. I shouldn't have to look up the spoilers I did. I should have known. I should have been informed that casting enchant weapon to hit caps out at 10. You know, even if they added it in-game, if they said that the first time you cast it when a weapon is at plus 10, it tells you, oh, sorry, you can't enchant the weapon further, and you've wasted one scroll, okay. But you've learned the lesson. The information is in the game, but it doesn't. It says, it didn't work. And you could do that 1,000 times, and you'd never know that what you were doing was completely impossible within the scope of the game. That's the problem. Personally, I'd say it should actually tell you in advance, here's the exact % chance that this will work, so you can make an informed decision. A mathematical decision, as you would in a board game. But I'll settle for giving sufficient information to let you know that what you're trying to do is not within the scope of the game's rules. It ain't fair otherwise. But games like this, I mean, they had extreme memory restrictions, I know that at the time, so they were stingy with their information. I don't know if they ever approached their memory limitations with this game. I don't know. I just don't know. Certainly graphically and sound-wise they didn't, and that's fine. Not harping against that. I got no problem with that. The thing I thought was a monster was an object, and the thing I thought was an object was a monster. But I think also part of it was that they grew up in the era of Dungeons and Dragons. These people, you know, Robert Konecki, etc., was, I'm sure, an avid D&D player, as was I, for God's sakes. And 9 years old, I was introduced to that game, and for the next 9 or so years, 8 or so years, it was like a cornerstone of my existence. I forget what I was saying. You know, I grew up in the era of Stranger Things. Like, that was those kids playing in that basement was essentially my life, minus the actual supernatural events that occur in that show. Same exact era of life, I mean, and same exact tastes and nerdiness level. But yeah, the designer of this game would have grown up in the era of Dungeons and Dragons and taken his design cues from Dungeons and Dragons very clearly. I mean, literally, these 6 stats are directly adapted, is the kind way, stolen is the accurate way of saying it, from Dungeons and Dragons. And who the hell am I to complain? I mean, Caverns of Zeskasian 2 uses only 3 stats, but it does use strength, dexterity, and intelligence. So, I guess in health. At least I didn't say hit points. As I guess they did here. Yeah, HP is hit points. I even cringe at using... I do occasionally now, for brevity's sake, use the phrase NPC in Caverns 2. And I only do that because it's 3 letters, and it's 3 letters that are almost universally recognized by RPG players and roguelike players. But I hate using it because it's not a term that everyone would know. I tried using, for the longest time, the term was friendly character, which is descriptive and tells you exactly accurately what an NPC is in terms of the game, in terms of Caverns. I still use that phrase often, but I've, in the rulebook, at least specifically spelled out the fact that sometimes the term friendly character is replaced with the term NPC, so at least you know, if you've read the rulebook, you at least know what is being referenced. Or even this, like STR, I can clearly intuit that means strength. But somewhere in the rulebook it should specifically say strength may be abbreviated to STR. If it doesn't, then they're making an assumption that you will intuit something. You should never be left to the player to intuit things. Ever. Something's coming from the south. Not intuiting that. I actually saw a door open. Am I using the wrong weapon or something? Yeah, just felt like I was really doing low damage for a while there. I don't know if I've cast these spells. I forget. I probably just did a minute ago. Nope, I did not. Let's rest. And PCE again. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Gosh darn it. Oh, well. Anyway, I think my rant is over. I forget the exact thrust of my rant, other than that you should spell everything out in a rule book and in the rules, game rules. But if I had further arguments to levy in that direction, I've forgotten them, so let's let it drop. We have 9 minutes left. Other bottom line, obviously, if we find any more enchant weapons to hit, we are using them on the Slay Evil Sword for now. I can't save them against. We really want a Holy Avenger. Again, I looked up in the book what a Holy Avenger does. That might be in the rulebook. It might actually tell you in the rulebook that. I looked up in the online, rather, what a Holy Avenger weapon does, and that sounds like the best one. Either Holy Avenger or Defender are the two you really want. Although these have served us well so far. PAG revealed something that wasn't revealed before. Let's do a PAF, too. Nope. Oh, yeah, there we go. Let's rest again. Let's PCE again. So still been a successful adventure so far. We've gotten closer to going back to town, and we have found a single potion of dexterity. I'm not sure if that information is accurate, that the potions become more prevalent around 1250. I mean, certainly we had one run on 1300 where we found 6 of them. In and around 1300 where we found 6 of them, but did I PHG up there, damn it? But we've also had, plenty of 1600s where we found 2. I don't know, plenty of. We certainly have found 2 on 1600. We found 1, or I guess we didn't find any for a long time, so maybe it is bearing out. But it does feel like we're finding no more here than we were earlier. Finding a lot of bullshit potions. Not a room. I'm hungry. Just realizing that. That elvish whey bread did not actually sustain me in real life. Getting up on time for a protein shake. And perhaps a nectarine. We bought some nectarines the other day that were unbelievably good. Perhaps almost a religious experience. They were so good. I've never experienced a piece of fruit that tasted like it was manufactured in Willy Wonka's factory. Blue dragonback, darn it. There we go. Lots of stuff up there. I thought we were at the northern edge of the map, but we're clearly not. Oh my. This room is just chock full of problems. Alright, nothing I can't handle, I think. I should have looked at this guy. Okay. This guy can poison me, but he didn't. Get rid of the dragonfly in case it was black. I could have looked to see that. And this guy we got a PCB because if we get near him, I think he can corrode. Yeah, we don't want him breaking our armor and shit. I think I've not 100% deciphered this, but I think the difference between corrode and say can breathe acid or whatever, or can hit to cause acid damage or something. I don't know, whatever that's called. I think acid can do damage and corrode won't cause you physical harm, but will damage your armor. You can find apparently as well armor that has resist corrosion, although how that's differentiated from RC for resist cold, I don't know. I'm not sure how it presents in terms of its lettering. But if you do find that kind of armor, it cannot be corroded by the acidic or corrosion factors of monsters, which is kind of interesting to note. I have to switch to V. Thank you, Wilson, for your service over these many, many literal months. Well, at least more than 1 month. I don't think quite 2 yet. God damn. Got all excited. Got 3.5 minutes left to turn this into a 2-potion show. I am skeptical that it will happen. Okay. Let's take a little look to the west. I know there's a staircase right over here, but there is a way onward as well, so we gotta go west. That's PCE, because it's been a while. Sorry for the little rumbling sounds again. Basically, in order to survive the use of this computer in this 30-degree heat, and for Americans that's like plus 90 anyway, I don't know quite how much, getting on towards 100-degree heat. In order to survive that, I have to either have at least the fan on. Oh, hey, look at that. Or else the air conditioner. And the air conditioner is decidedly more noisy. Let's drop V for a second. Let's pick up this. Let's switch to this and read, speak of the devil, this. Alright, so +4/+4 longsword anyway. We'll probably not even end up using the longsword all the way through. It's probably going to be fuck it. EE. Just to get some food in my belly. It's probably going to be a Holy Avenger or a Defender. But in case we don't find it, at least we've got the Slay Evil in the works. Can't test it, can't do anything about it. Don't want to scroll teleport. Okay, we're out of here, I think. That's about it. That's the map. So we're heading back a little tiny ways up to the next level. We've still got a minute left or so. It's been a moderately successful round. We found a potion of dexterity. That's about it, to be honest. Gotten some experience, I guess. Got enchanted our weapon up a little tiny bit. Our longsword. It's the little things, man. You gotta celebrate the little things, because with 60 or 70 or 80 or whatever the hell it's been episodes of searching for these potions, the little things are really all we have to go on for a while. But we're getting near the end of this process, guys. When we get back to the surface, we have 2 potions we can swallow. Well, assuming we can heal our fucking strength and dexterity. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't know that we can really do this. But hopefully we have 2 potions to drink as soon as we get back. And we're going back pretty soon. And in the meantime, maybe we'll find some more. Jesus, did I not cast? I didn't do anything I was supposed to do here. That sucks. Well, then I better redo it up here. Okay. even for those, I'll finish off my rant for the next few seconds because we're already over budget and time. Even for those who would argue that you don't have to provide every bit of information that the player can figure it out. Most players who win the game or continue playing the game have figured it out, whether through online, I think mostly through looking it up online, or through intuiting, maybe, I don't know. But I don't think it can be argued that that information hurts the player's experience in any way.